Imagine moving into a new home only to find out it's a portal to unspeakable horror. The place where screams echo in the night, doors slam without reason, and shadowy figures lurk in the corners. This isn't a horror movie. It's the real story of Latoya Ammons and her family, trapped in a nightmare that haunted their very souls. Tonight, we're diving deep into one of the most chilling cases of possession that left seasoned detectives, doctors, and priests questioning everything they knew. Stick around, because it only gets stranger from here. In 2011, Latoya Ammons, a single mother of 3, moved her family into what they thought would be their dream home in Gary, Indiana. The quaint, unassuming house sat on a quiet street with nothing to suggest it would soon be called the House of 200 Demons. But little did they know, something dark and twisted was waiting to greet them. And if you think this sounds like every ghost story, trust me, this one will make you question reality itself. The first signs came almost immediately. The Ammons noticed swarms of flies, thousands of them, covering their porch in the dead of winter. Ever seen flies in freezing temperatures? Yeah, didn't think so. Soon after, strange sounds began echoing from deep within the walls, scratching noises, heavy footsteps, whispers. It was as if something unseen was waiting, lurking, growing bolder by the day. If you're wondering, why didn't they just call an exterminator? They did, and the experts found nothing. No source for the flies, no cause for the noises. But as you'll see, the flies were just the beginning. Things escalated quickly. Latoya and her children began experiencing physical attacks. They'd wake up with bruises, scratches, and cuts they couldn't explain. Latoya claimed to feel something pressing down on her chest at night, a weight that felt malevolent, as if something was trying to suffocate her in her own bed. At this point, I'm sure some of you are thinking, I would have packed my bags and left already. Well, so did they. But every attempt to leave felt impossible, like they were chained to the house by an invisible force. Desperate and terrified, Latoya reached out to family members, clergy, and local professionals. A priest from a nearby church came to bless the home, hoping to rid it of whatever malevolent force clung to the family. But his words seemed to fall on deaf walls. One of the family's visitors even claimed to see a shadowy figure pacing the rooms. Can you imagine? Seeing something that shouldn't be there? Each prayer and blessing only seemed to anger the spirits, intensifying the paranormal attacks. So, if blessing the house makes things worse, what's next? You'll want to hear this. The most disturbing development was the change in Latoya's children. They'd scream, convulse, speak in voices that weren't their own. And one night, they saw her daughter levitate. Yes, you heard that right. Float above her bed, unconscious. The family's grandmother, who witnessed this, said it felt like a scene out of a horror movie. But in real life, you can't hit pause or fast forward. You're trapped. And this is where things take an even darker turn. When Latoya took her children to the doctor, the medical staff witnessed things they couldn't explain. One of her sons was thrown across the room by an invisible force. Hospital staff were so horrified, they called Child Protective Services, suspecting child abuse, or something beyond it. CPS workers and even police officers began visiting the home, and what they witnessed left them speechless. Imagine being a police officer thinking you're dealing with a domestic case, and you end up face to face with, well, we'll get to that in a second. Latoya finally reached out to a priest experienced in exorcisms. With the church's approval, Father Michael Magino performed a ritual meant to drive the demons from the house. And when I say demons, I mean he believed there were multiple. During the exorcism, Latoya convulsed, screamed, and spoke in voices that weren't her own, her eyes rolled back in her head. Father Magino later described it as one of the most intense battles he'd ever fought. And if you think that's the end, it wasn't. After the exorcism, things slowly returned to normal, and the family was eventually able to leave the house. But the question remains, what really happened in that home? Was it truly a demonic infestation, or a haunting so powerful it left scars on everyone who witnessed it? Or maybe, just maybe, do you think they were haunted by the world's worst roommates? Even now, the house sits vacant, as if it's waiting for its next occupants. So, would you dare step inside? If you found this story chilling, you won't want to miss more bone-chilling mysteries we're uncovering every week. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're the first to dive into the darkest corners of the paranormal world. And let us know in the comments, would you ever live in a haunted house? See you in the next story, if you dare.